I hope you nerds, losers, and dorks got your pen and paper out, because it's time for y'all to learn today. We got yet another tier zoo list. This time, we've got the snake tier list. Now, I'm not too familiar in the world of snakes, but I do know that I'm rocking an Anaconda in between my legs. So for that reason, I feel like Anaconda is the undisputed king of all slithering reptiles. Snakes are honestly one of the most terrifying animals on the face of the planet, because those motherfuckers, they bury themselves in holes, and they blend in with the environment, and then you can't see them until it's too late, and then you step on one, and then it bites you on the ass, dude, and then injecting venom into your bloodstream, and then the only possible way for you to survive is for your homie to suck the poison out of your ass, dude. Snakes are truly menaces. The snake tier list. See what we got. Let's fucking go.
Snakes are one of the most feared classes in the game.
Cobras are fire. Cobras are fire. Mambas are fire. I fuck with those too.
Of powerful builds and a vast array of uniquely lethal abilities. However, some of these strategies have clearly been more successful than others. So in this video, which was sponsored by CuriosityStream, we'll be going over the Snakes tier list to see which builds rank highest.
F tier.
So the lower tiers on this list contain members of the snake faction known as colubrids. This is the largest group of snakes and contains almost every snake build in the game, except for the ones you're actually afraid of.
Oh, Garter Snakes. Those are the bitch snakes.
The Garter Snake, one of the weakest snake builds in the game.
Yeah.
Data miners are actually unsure whether or not this build is venomous, but if it is, it's some of the weakest venom in the game. And with no other offensive abilities, the Garter Snake essentially only has favorable matchups against things far smaller than it, like frogs and mice.
Yeah,
because they're so vulnerable,
dude, those are the snakes that begin shoved into lockers and swirlies.
Like tadpoles and small fish. But they have no actual abilities that synergize with this playstyle, nor is it a particularly good swimmer, and therefore takes on considerable risk when they—
Does a Garter Snake bite hurts? Does it hurt? Like I know it obviously doesn't do shit, but like if it bites you, does it, like, do you feel like a little pinch? Do you feel like pain when it bites you?
Into the water.
What's that guy who was always getting himself stung by bees? Get that guy to start getting himself bit by snakes. See how long he could survive poison.
Snakes are also caught in an endless—
I mean, that'd be prime time television right there.
Evolving extreme toxin resistance to the poison of a specific newt build. This isn't very efficient, but I guess the Garter Snake needs to preserve its few favorable matchups.
A Racer Snake.
Next in F tier we have the Racer Snake. This is a snake build that put an above average number of evolution points into mobility, making it one of the fastest snake builds in the game.
Oh, that's that video I remember!
That's not really saying—
Yeah! I remember the lizard when he got surrounded by a pack of the snakes, and he did the dash and juked them, dipped on out of there, bro. That video was legendary.
A lot, given that snakes tend to have
that video was legendary.
But credit where credit is due, this does give them a much better chance of dashing into cover when under attack. Unfortunately, as with a lot of mobility-centric builds, this alone isn't enough to make them competitively viable. In fact, even with their above-average slithering speed, they're usually still too slow to chase down many of their preferred attack targets. They're also worse climbers than most snakes, making them one of the few snakes that can be countered by simply climbing out of reach. In almost all cases, a snake's worst matchup is against birds, and unfortunately for the Racer Snake, speed usually isn't much use against a surprise aerial attack. Their lack of practical applications for their signature abilities plants them firmly in F tier for me.
A Vine Snake.
Next on the tier list, we have the Vine Snake. Now, there are many
that's the problem with snakes, bro. If you're walking in the vast wilderness and this motherfucker's booling in a tree, you're not seeing that. You ain't seeing that.
Arboreal snake builds, and all things considered, the Vine Snake isn't terrible. It's got great stealth and is an excellent climber. But I mean, just look at this thing. With the lowest HP and defensive stats of any snake, this build folds to absolutely any attack. Vine snakes entrust their survival to their above-average stealth stat, but if that fails and the vine snake is discovered, they resort to intimidation. Their intimidation tactic consists of sticking out their brightly colored tongue as a warning. Much like with the blue-tongued skink, I don't consider this to be a particularly effective defensive display, especially when this warning is backed by some of the weakest venom in the snake faction. Definitely not F tier due to its decent camouflage, but with nothing else going for it, it's stuck in D tier.
Nice. Tiger Keelback.
Next in D tier, we have the Tiger Keelback. This snake build breaks the mold when it comes to toxic strategies in snakes. As rather than dumping all of its evolution points
literally
into venom,
floating.
The Keelback also allocates some of its resources into becoming poisonous, meaning that they can inflict the toxic status effect both when dealing damage and when taking damage. This extra defensive ability definitely raises the Keelback's ranking compared to most colobrid snakes.
Okay.
However, overall, it's still not that great. Both their venom and their poison aren't all that potent, and it's possible that going all in on one of these strategies might have been the better play in the long run. Still, the Keelback strategy does mitigate one of the colobrid faction's main weaknesses though, which is that they have a hard time using their venom defensively. Many colobrids, including the vine snake and Keelback, are venomous. This is useful because, I mean, how else would a snake barely thicker than a piece of spaghetti deal any damage, right? The problem is, colobrids lack the efficient venom delivery abilities found in the more dangerous snake builds.
Oh,
their
vipers!
fangs are located at the back of their mouths.
Dude, the longer we get into this video, the more of these terrifying demon snakes I'm seeing, bro.
Don't actually inject venom.
Vipers!
The venom is just kind of part of their saliva, so to deal any damage with it, they need to really chew on their target for a good chunk of time. As you might expect, this makes individual strikes from most venomous colobrids quite harmless, as they don't contain much venom per hit, and they also can't really use their fangs unless they get a really solid bite in. So the Keelback's poison does sort of cover for this weakness, which is great, and for that it gets to the top of D tier. However, a defensive poison is by no means the only way to mitigate the drawbacks of having rear fangs.
Right.
As we'll see as we move out of the low tier
and into mid tier. Of course, we all know that. Boomslang, that's a name. Boomslang, bro. That sounds like a rapper.
Have the Boomslang, the most venomous snake build from the colobrid faction. This snake kind of just does everything the vine snake does, but better. It's an excellent climber and has great camouflage, but also packs a devastating bite with extremely overpowered venom for its tier in terms of potency. And while it does have rear fangs, they're significantly larger than most colobrids. But its best adaptation is that the Boomslang can open its mouth far wider than most snakes, allowing it to deliver a venom-infused bite in spite of the unfavorable location of its fangs. This allows the Boomslang to go toe-to-toe with high-tier builds like the Chameleon, as well as let it use its potent venom as a defensive threat rather than solely just a hunting tool. Now obviously this is still far from ideal. Its venom is quite slow acting, making it not that useful when under attack. In my opinion, the Boomslang is the perfect example of a snake that really just needs one or two more buffs to be a high tier build, but in its current state, it just doesn't quite get there.
King Snake!
Here we have our last member of the colobrid faction, the
King Snake. That's the Gucci Snake!
The King Snake is a large snake build with no venom-based abilities. Instead, this is the first Constrictor build on our list. Constriction is a type of grappling attack that, when properly executed, results in a guaranteed KO, even on extremely large targets. Its main drawback is that this attack strategy is highly vulnerable to disruption. A Constrictor player has to be able to survive all counterattacks from its target while attempting to restrain it. So with that said, you'd think it'd be very difficult to use this technique against a venomous snake, right? Snakes are so flexible that it's very difficult to grapple them without giving them an easy opportunity to bite back. That's where the King Snake's second ability, Venom Resistance, comes in. The ability to ignore all damage from a snake's venom makes the King Snake's matchup against other snakes horribly one-sided. Just for good measure, King Snakes have high enough accuracy on their attacks that they tend to go for the head, which negates a snake's counterattack potential even further. This is about where the King Snake's supremacy ends.
This is a boss, bro! You pulled up to the op's crib while he was sleeping, got him with a headshot, and devoured him whole in one bite like you a throat goat, bro. Dude, that's fire.
Potential even further.
Kinda wish I was the snake right now, not gonna lie. Anyways,
ends though, as the rest of its matchups are pretty standard.
You didn't hear that.
And with no venom of its own, it doesn't pose much of a threat to players it can't reliably immobilize in its coils. Luckily, there's a pretty simple change a Constrictor build can make in order to increase the effectiveness of its constriction: size. Boas and pythons are the poster children for this type of strategy.
Woo! Boa constrictors, baby! Boa constrictors, bro. These are the ones that motherfuckers be bringing, like, for you to hold around your neck, and they slowly start to constrict and suffocate you, dude. It makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense why them zoo people be doing that, dude.
Only snake builds that can be
They're
properly
purposely trying to
tanks.
thin the herd.
While technically these are two different factions, they are functionally extremely similar and both contain specific examples of highly effective tanky snakes. Although boas and pythons have no venom, their large teeth and incredibly high physical stats make them more than a match for just about any player that challenges them directly. With their thick scales and huge size, it's very difficult to defeat one of these in a 1v1 quickly. Their ability to tank a lot of hits during a fight means that even extremely powerful builds like the tiger are in for quite an uphill battle if they choose to stand and fight.
Dude! If you got a snake taking down a fully grown tiger, dude, clearly there's a fucking problem there. Clearly there's something going on there, dude.
Well-statted builds with high defense and
keep
DPS,
that away
like the
from me.
crocodilian factions, are easily overcome with brute strength once a boa or python uses their piercing fangs.
He's about to swallow an entire alligator. Oh god, dude.
To trap them in an infinite grab combo. Drawbacks to the constriction strategy are vulnerability to third-party attacks and the immense cost of failed kills.
Yoink.
While many constrictors have the size required
Dude,
to
he
challenge
just walked
the
up and
immense cost
snatched
of
that.
failed kills.
Yoink.
While many constrictors have the size required to challenge other large builds, going after too powerful a target can expend a disproportionate amount of HP compared to other snakes. As large builds are often more conspicuous, the most successful constrictor players will make good use of the camouflage ability.
Here we fucking go, baby! Here we fucking go, bro! My Anaconda, baby! I feel like shaking ass.
For the boa
Not
faction,
gonna
the
lie.
most powerful build is without a doubt the Anaconda. These are among the heaviest of any snake and by far the tankiest, with an HP stat that renders most physical attacks almost negligible. While Anacondas are significantly less viable on land
Jesus
due to their greatly
Christ,
reduced
dude.
speed on terrestrial maps, their mobility, stealth, and camouflage bonuses in the aquatic meta make them nearly unbeatable in that biome. Anacondas are capable of serious speed when their buoyancy abilities can counteract the limitations
That's
of their
fucking
normal size,
terrifying.
making nearly any unsuspecting player who enters the water an easy target. Their eyes and noses are oriented towards the top of their faces, allowing them to expend minimal energy while camouflaged in aquatic vegetation, waiting for the perfect opportunity to carry out an ambush attack. Despite their formidable base stats and proficiency in highly specialized forms of gameplay, the fact that Anacondas are only truly viable in aquatic environments limits their utility and places them squarely in B tier. The most competitive
Burmese
build in the Python
Python.
faction is the Burmese Python.
Dude, Anacondas are S tier, okay? You can debate a wall, debate your mama.
While many snake builds are
Anacondas are A
competitively
tier
viable
or
only on
S
certain
tier.
maps that suit their specialized abilities, Burmese pythons fit into more of a jack-of-all-trades playstyle and have sufficient mobility in aquatic, terrestrial, and arboreal biomes, in spite of their large size. Burmese pythons are therefore excellent generalist builds, and as seen with many other generalists, they have been causing serious disruption in servers that they weren't meant to be spawning in. Burmese pythons have totally destabilized the meta of the Florida Everglades, due mostly to the pythons'
Of course it's Florida, dude. Of course it's Florida, dude. When is there never shit going on in Florida, bro?
one-sided matchup
Can't
against
say I'm
non-social
shocked.
mammal builds, and a lack of the type of builds that normally keep the Python player base in check. Now, thankfully, the current top tier of the Everglades is quite capable of defeating or repelling a Python in single combat, but because the alligator's dominance is restricted to the aquatic zones, Pythons essentially have complete control of the arboreal zone, which has led to a drastic reduction in players running mammal builds like the rabbit, raccoon, fox, and bobcat. While Burmese pythons come in at the top of B tier due to their versatility, their low speed stat and lack of venom makes higher tier snakes much more viable choices for most gameplay styles.
A
While some
tier.
snake builds in
Here
lower
we
tiers
go.
can use
Here's the
venom
big
skill,
boys.
placement in A tier or higher.
I've noticed we haven't seen Viper or Cobra, dude. Oh my god, bro. What is he gonna say about them?
Rides almost exclusively on choosing to dump a majority of evolution points
Oh yeah,
into
Cobras,
maximizing
yeah, they're
venom efficiency and
literally
delivery
born
methods.
killers.
Members of the Viper class dominate the A tier. Among the most feared builds in the game, Vipers have a variety of special offensive and sensory skills that help compensate for their generally low defense stats. Their long, hollow fangs are placed at the front of their mouths and can pierce most armor to deliver lethal doses of venom. but one drawback to the flesh-destroying hemotoxins used by most builds in this group is that they can take a while to immobilize players. Most Viper builds also spec into the infrared heat sensing ability, making them extremely powerful
That's badass,
nocturnal ambush
dude.
attackers
That's
and compensating
fire.
for their lack of speed. Some members of the Viper faction tack on tail adaptations too, for access to the intimidation and luring abilities, but these perks are minor compared to the raw offensive potential.
Oh, that's its tail? Oh my god!
Compensating for their lack of speed. Some
I thought that was like some weird, creepy fucking bug.
members of the Viper faction tack on tail adaptations too, for access to the intimidation and luring abilities, but these perks are minor compared to the raw offensive potential.
Dude, that's crazy. No, that's crazy. I thought, dude, dude, that motherfucker fooled me. Huh. Dude, I would've got clapped right there. If I had seen that, I'd have stepped on that fucking bug, dude, and then that python would've taken my ankle, bro. Nah, bro, he fooled me.
Baboon Vipers,
My
combining the
dumbass.
highest defense stat of any venomous build, with near unbeatable stealth and an incredibly high strike speed. Despite their bulky appearance, Baboon Vipers are almost invisible to spot during gameplay, and are notorious for destroying unsuspecting players due to the sheer
that a
volume
turkey?
of venom delivered during an attack, despite
Hey, I
the
mean, it's
relatively
Thanksgiving, bro.
underpowered toxicity compared to
The
other
Vipers love turkey,
With the
too.
longest fangs of any Viper, they can deal significant physical piercing damage, in addition to any toxic effects caused by the venom. They conserve energy by remaining motionless when not in combat, and are rather difficult to provoke into unnecessary confrontation. While Gaboon Vipers are an excellent choice for ambush-based play in jungle maps, their lack of versatility and low aggression means they can be easily outmaneuvered by other builds. Cottonmouths rank slightly higher in A tier.
Fuck, isn't that like the poison one? That's like the most poisonous one, right? Is the cottonmouth,
Their
right?
ability
That's
to
the
use
one that fucks people up.
skill set of the Viper class effectively in the aquatic realm. As the only Viper build in the game with aquatic adaptations, their potent venom and fishhook-shaped fangs make them incredibly effective at farming out fish and frog players for easy XP. This build specs into the caudal luring ability at lower levels, allowing them to quickly become competitive, and shed this ability at higher levels in favor of better camouflage. Cottonmouths are also relatively tanky and escape many combat situations by using intimidation tactics.
Nice.
Their dominance in aquatic maps makes them able to occasionally
What is the
overcome
reason? Why do people do that? Hey, let me get as close as I possibly can to one of the world's most dangerous and venomous snakes, dude. And then afterwards, I'm gonna go hit up Africa, and I'm gonna go antagonize a pack of fucking hyenas and lions.
more competitive
Dude.
generalist builds, but this is limited by biome and
Those
therefore not
wildlife
useful during the
photographers are
majority of
crazy.
gameplay. Rounding out A tier is the rattlesnake. Best suited for desert and forest biomes, these snakes combine a variety of overpowered special abilities with well-allocated base stats. Rattlesnakes are highly capable builds for ambush-based stealth play due to their ability to create thermal maps of other players in low-visibility situations, which makes them one of the most effective counters for mammal players with the night vision ability. Instead of risking health by grappling with other players, rattlesnakes deliver a lethal amount of venom in one quick strike, and then use their prey tracking ability to find them after they've succumbed to toxic status effects.
Bro.
One major advantage for rattlesnake players is the
We just sat here and watched a poor innocent bunny slowly slip into death, bro. That's kind of heartbreaking, dude. This is kind of making me sad. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Watching all these poor animals just getting fucking slaughtered, and I don't get to eat any of them.
highly effective rattle intimidation technique, which allows them to scare off more powerful challengers without wasting venom or risking serious damage. While rattlesnakes sit at the top of A tier due to their relatively well-rounded stats among members of the Viper class, all Viper builds are still classified as glass cannons and tend to lose out against opponents with quicker acting venom, superior speed, or high enough HP to tank their attacks.
Here we
Snake builds
go.
placing in S tier overcome the weaknesses of other venom
Here
users.
we fucking go, bro. These are the dudes running the fucking show, bro. These are the motherfuckers that Steve Irwin was chasing, bro. Let's
by
get
maxing
it.
out mobility stats and employing a
What you
variety
got?
of highly effective venom delivery
The
techniques. The most
Cobra.
competitively viable snakes spec into heavily neurotoxic venom, granting them the ability to inflict toxic damage and
The
status
fact that Cobra is only the third best kind of freaks me out, dude. What possibly could be more terrifying than King Cobra?
effects far more quickly than lower tier venom users. While these buffs come at the cost of base defense, S-tier snakes are only really weak to the rare few players with venom resistance or effective bite evasion skills. Coming up first in S-tier is the Cobra build. With impressive base speed, these snakes can actively chase down other players rather than having to solely rely on an ambush strategy. Variants of the
Black Mamba, stop!
Cobra build can spec into moderate aquatic and climbing proficiency, allowing for particularly well-rounded gameplay. Their fast-acting venom is mostly neurotoxic, but can have mixed toxic effects that melt through flesh and maximize the amount of pain inflicted.
Melt through flesh! That's a great sentence!
Even elephant players,
that makes me feel good,
the terrestrial build in the entire game, can be taken down by the ridiculous amount of sheer toxic damage inflicted by a well-placed bite. While all Cobra builds have forward-placed fangs to maximize venom delivery, spitting Cobra players can use the only ranged attack in the entire snake class by spraying venom up to 2 meters through holes at the front of their fangs. This move has high accuracy and can permanently blind other players when used effectively. Cobra builds advertise their power by using a unique hood modification, intimidating the vast majority of players away from trying to challenge them in the first place. With enough offensive capabilities to take on an entire team of attackers at once, it's no question that Cobras are one of the most competitively viable builds in the snake faction. Dude, Cobras are fucking crazy. Next in S tier are sea snakes. With full aquatic adaptations and special underwater sensory skills, these builds can access hard-to-reach areas to demolish even the most competitive fish players. Their fangs are relatively small compared to the closely related Cobra builds, but this works in conjunction with a special attack style. Their venom is some of the deadliest in the game, but causes almost no pain, meaning that other players may not even know they've been hit before fatal toxic damage. Nah,
that's fucking psychotic, dude! It doesn't hurt! You don't even know that you've been bit until you literally die. That's wonderful, dude. That's lovely.
While they are effective at using trickster tactics to take down enemies independently, sea snake players can also hunt in teams to capitalize on their own offensive potential
and they got ready to roll with the gang
for their low individual HP. This build does have a bit of a high skill floor though, and inexperienced players may struggle at playing around the sea snake's defensive weaknesses. The sea snake build has a unique playstyle that can be hard to master, but with the ability to 1v1 eels and win, this build sits at the top for those who enjoy a challenge.
Woo! There we fucking go, baby! 24 on my back like I'm Kobe. Black fucking Mamba, dude. Let's go!
The final build on this tier list is the Black
Let's
Mamba.
Go!
With incredibly overpowered base stats for their class, including ridiculous damage and speed, the Black Mamba is by far the most competitive snake, both in terrestrial and arboreal combat situations. Their speed isn't just with respect to movement. The lethal venom of the Black Mamba takes effect extremely quickly, and can decimate enemies of any size due to the high dose delivered in each bite. Black Mamba venom imposes a variety of neurological status effects, including respiratory failure and vision loss, making them one of the most feared opponents in direct combat.
Nice! You experience blindness and respiratory failure, dude!
Mamba builds have an extremely aggressive and fast-paced playstyle that leaves little room for counterplay, especially considering that their HP and defense stats are among the highest of any Venom users due to their large size. While they don't have any unique moves to speak of, Black Mambas dominate by using strategies common among snake players, and do so to an exceptionally effective degree.
Dude, that's literally Kobe. Literally Kobe Bryant, bro. Nothing special about them. There's nothing different or special about them. They're just OP for no reason, bro. That was Kobe. Kobe didn't have anything special about his game. He just was really fucking good. That's what this is, bro. Nothing special about a Mamba. They're just really fucking powerful, dude. That's
topping the charts with the highest DPS potential of any snake and respectable defensive skills to boot. The Black Mamba is the undisputed ruler of snake builds. Snakes are by no means meta-defining.
Dude, bro, listen, bro. Snakes might be some of the most terrifying creatures on the face of the planet, dude. Just simply because of the stealth aspect, bro. Like, a lot of times, you don't realize that you're near a snake until it's damn near too late, bro. Unless it's like a rattlesnake and it warns you, bro. But if you get too close to a snake, bro, that motherfucker bites you, it's over. It's over, dude. If it bites you on the dick, you gonna have to have the homies suck out the poison and get you to the hospital, dude. But snakes freak me the fuck out, dude.